Back in Slay the God, the scene began with Lin Chi arriving at the Changnan City training camp. All the instructor members of the training camp became very excited because they had the arrival of the divine agent of Archangel Michael, Lin Chi. Then, the chief instructor, Geng Yuan, who was in charge of the training process, immediately ordered his subordinates to guide Lin Chi. On the other hand, many of the other instructors doubted Lin Chi's appearance as a divine agent. On the contrary, Geng Yuan had a different view and felt that Lin Chi had a high fighting spirit. After Lin Chi entered the training camp, the guide explained that there were a total of 239 new members joining the training this time. Hearing that, Lin Chi thought that the number of Night Watcher members was very small. The guide also explained that not all the novice soldiers or students who participated in the training here would become Night Watcher members, because the requirements to become a Night Watcher are that they must be able to survive the last stage and must have qualified qualifications to exterminate monsters. In this training and selection activity, Night Watcher officials also have to spend a lot of money to run this program. Although the training camp is newly built in the city of Changnan, it has adequate facilities, including a gym to train muscles, a warehouse that has weapons and bombs, a place to train martial arts skills, and an exercise room. On the other hand, many people in the training camp were staring at Lin Chi because they were curious about the divine agent. The curious Lin Chi asked, "Are there other divine agents participating in this training?" "Of course there are," said the guide. The guide also explained that there is a special team here that has the power of a god agent owned by a masked team that Lin Chi will soon find out after starting his training. And in this training camp number 093, Lin Chi will undergo this training for 1 year, where that moment will never be forgotten in his life. After walking around with the guide, Lin Chi, who entered the dormitory building, heard someone making noise in the room. After approaching, it turned out that in the room was Bai Li Tuming, who was driving his servant away from his room, which could only be occupied by 2 people. After Lin Chi entered, Tuming introduced himself to Lin Chi and welcomed him. Since the fat man knew and coincidentally shared a room with a god agent, he wanted Lin Chi to be his friend. On the first day of the introduction, Tuming the rich man gave Lin Chi a welcome gift of an expensive watch. Not long after, outside the dormitory, the guide Lin Chi from earlier gave orders to all the trainees to change into military uniforms and rush to the field area right now. Long story short, after all, the new students had gathered and lined up neatly on the field. On the first day of training, the chief instructor, Geng Yuan, gave a short speech and explained that he did not care about the identity and background of the new students before him. Since the new students arrived here, Geng Yuan considered them to be useless trash. The chief instructor also thinks that they will not be able to survive a single enemy attack or can be considered not to have experience fighting monsters. That's how it is, guys. In the military, there must be hazing and insults from their superiors. On the other hand, Shen Qingzhu, who had previously been a school thug, raised his hand and disagreed with the instructor's statement that he was trash. Also, many of the training members there also did not accept the instructor Geng Yuan's statement. On the other hand, Lin Chi not raising his hand made Tuming curious. Lin Chi also stated that he accepted the instructor's insults. You must already know, guys, Lin Chi's terrifying experience when he was ganged up on by the ghost-masked creature before gaining divine power. Because of the response of many students who underestimated this, Geng Yuan immediately gave a tough test for them. He immediately ordered a special masked team of 5 people to show himself in front of all the training members. After the masked team landed from the sky, suddenly something hilarious happened because one of the people who had a purple mask fell down because he had a phobia of heights, which was immediately laughed at by all the training students there. Next introduced a special masked team that has different colors in each member. This team is led by the person in the center with a red mask named Wang Mian, as an agent of the god of time, along with 4 members who have forbidden ruins named Qiang Wei, Tianping, Xuanwo, and Yue Gui. The strength of the 5 of them should be at level 5, or absolute. But because they are testing a beginner, they also suppress their strength at the 2nd level, or pond. In this training, Gung Yuan, who had been in the command center, told all the training students to remove one of their masks. If they are able to remove the mask of one of the 5 masked teams, then they are considered to have passed the exam. But if they couldn't fulfill the requirement, they had to go home eliminated. Seeing the masked team that looked weak in front of the students, they eagerly challenged and provoked the 5 of them. But in an instant, one of the students who participated in provoking was hit by an attack from Wang Mian, which made all the students immediately fall silent. When the battle began, the man in the purple mask began to attack through his space distortion skill, which could release large stones, accompanied by the attack of the woman in the pink mask, who immediately took out her big hammer, which instantly wiped out the students in front of her. On the other hand, the instructors who saw the incident did not expect the power possessed by the masked special teams. It seemed that the rumors were indeed true, that they were strong people. And of course, Gung Yuan felt that this was the best way to see who would survive this test. On the other hand, the masked team leader asked his members to not hold back and attack all the students in front of him. The team leader was also intrigued by the intelligent response of Ling Qi, who had already left the field. It looks like Lin Qi will be the main target, guys. On the other hand, Lin Qi, who had been traveling around with a guide, also remembered that there was a warehouse containing many weapons and bombs. Lin Qi's goal here was to take supplies of weapons to increase his chances of victory, but unfortunately, the warehouse door was locked, which made Lin Qi and Tuming unable to open it. In the other direction, suddenly came a red-haired girl, who immediately made Tuming fascinated to see her. Seeing that the girl had the same goal as Lin Qi, the girl immediately wanted to open the iron gate with both hands. And after making the door tremble with the touch of one hand, the iron gate was shattered into pieces. Moments later, the other students began to go inside to get the necessary weapon supplies. After they all entered, the red-haired girl was seen taking out a katana sword. Seeing the girl leave, Lin Qi asked her to watch out for 3 of the 5 masked men who possessed high-level forbidden ruin. And of course, here, Lin Qi was also trying to get this girl to cooperate in order to have a chance of winning against the masked team, and introduced this girl named Moli, who had forbidden ruin 076 from the Mo family sword sect. But when Lin Qi wanted to introduce himself, Tuming interrupted and told her his name. I think this fatso is in love with Moli, guys. And suddenly Lin Qi drew his sword and immediately attacked Moli. And unexpectedly, Lin Qi actually didn't target Moli, but one of the masked team members who had a stealth-type forbidden ruin. Seeing Lin Qi withstand the attack of the green-masked man, Moli immediately cut off the man's arm using a sword. But unexpectedly, the condition of his arm suddenly returned to normal. Initially, Moli thought he could regenerate his body, but Lin Qi found out that this green-masked man used the power of forbidden ruin, which could penetrate any object on his body like Obito in the Naruto series. Knowing this, the other trainees began to lay siege to him. Since the plan to attack in stealth mode failed, he was forced to fight Lin Qi and others simultaneously. Lin Qi, who saw this opportunity, asked all the students in the warehouse to prepare for an attack to remove his mask. When he saw that Tuming was not carrying any weapons, Lin Qi felt worried. And of course, Tuming was not carrying a weapon. because his weapon was a valuable watch that could make orders to everyone in the warehouse. When Tu Ming threw his watch, all the other students immediately attacked the masked man. In the battle, Lin Chi and the others seemed to have difficulty attacking the masked man who could continuously penetrate the students' attacks. Not long after, the green mask man released a skill that made the place have reverse gravity, followed by the presence of the purple mask, who released a space distortion skill. In the combination of skills, it makes the space appear to have no surface. It can also be seen that the woman in the pink mask slammed her hammer towards the big box, which made the movements of Lin Chi and others even more chaotic. And now the conditions were reversed, because Lin Chi and others were surrounded by 5 masked special members who put Lin Chi and others in unfavorable conditions. Seeing that the gap in strength was too great, Lin Chi and the others were forced to leave the place. Tu Ming, who felt confident in front of Molly, was caught off guard and was hit by a large box heading towards him. So bad luck for Tu Ming, guys. Seeing Lin Chi's suspicious movements, the masked team leader gave orders to Yue Gui in the green mask to follow Lin Chi. Other students were also seen hiding in the storage box. Like Lin Chi and the others are planning something, guys. In the chase scene, Lin Chi was seen being underestimated by the masked man because he did not want to show his true abilities. But after Lin Chi got the signal code from Tu Ming, he immediately attacked the green mask with the power of his god. When the green mask was pressed, he asked his teammates to help him. When the masked special teams had gathered in one area, immediately Molly, from hiding, exploded the box containing the explosive package with her sword. This was followed by an attack from Tu Ming, who threw a package bomb at the masked members. However, the purple masked man was easily held back by his spatial abilities. But Lin Chi's plan didn't stop there. Unexpectedly, all the students who had been hiding in the box suddenly came out and immediately threw the bomb at all the masked team members who had gathered together, and boom. Afterwards, the masked team members managed to get out of the burning warehouse. They all did not expect Lin Chi and the others to use such a brutal method that their lives were almost threatened. It can also be seen that the condition of the purple mask in use has begun to crack, which almost failed. After all the plans failed, previously the green mask had also warned the other members if Lin Chi as a divine agent was difficult to deal with. Even in stealth mode, it was easy to overcome by Lin Chi. Because they had lost track of Lin Chi, they left the location to hunt for other students. On the other hand, after the situation was already safe, Lin Chi and the others managed to hide in the attic of the building. Here, Lin Chi predicted that most of the new student participants had been eliminated, and the rest should have formed a small group like them. And Lin Chi concluded that the other group was also hiding to avoid the masked team. Lin Chi went on to explain the next plan if the area of the dormitory building was the largest area, which would have many other groups hiding there to ambush the masked team. And of course, that place would be the most intense battle later. And now Lin Chi's plan was to observe the location of the dormitory from a distance to look for opportunities when the masked team was caught off guard. On the other hand, Cao Yuan's colleague in the dormitory reported that the masked team was coming. The panicked colleague advises Cao Yuan to find a place to hide. Because Cao Yuan's colleague did not want Cao Yuan to be eliminated, the friend offered to face the upcoming masked team. But Cao Yuan, who had cut his hair, refused his colleague's suggestion because they should not help him. It looks like Cao Yuan is desperate, guys, after seeing the strength of the masked team. Whereas in the previous episode, this Cao Yuan looked the strongest from his appearance alone. But in fact, it was not expected. In the other direction, an explosion was seen in the area of the dormitory building. All the students who were at the explosion site were seen holding weapons in a vigilant attitude. However, one by one, the students who were there were easily defeated by the green mask. After all the students in the area were defeated, now only Shen Qingju was left, who didn't panic at all and chewed gum instead. But make no mistake that this gum was one of the sources of his power. From the chewing gum, he could create a bubble that enlarged like a domain, which made the people in it move slower and couldn't breathe. The effect of the power Shen Qingju used was like a vacuum. It's just that those in his bubble room wouldn't die immediately. But first, the person will experience a period of asystole for tens of seconds. Then the microbubbles in their blood vessels would expand, causing blockages and internal bleeding. And Shen Qingju's forbidden ruin power had this high risk of being ranked at number 068. Shen Qingju recognized that the green mask had a high level of strength, so he couldn't possibly feel the same way as the other disciples. What Shen Qingju did was to threaten the green mask to remove its mask. But if not, Shen Qingju's bubble would kill the disciples one by one. Because of that threat, the green mask was really annoyed by Shen Qingju's cunning plan. And of course, since all the decisions were now on the green mask, especially since the students were only able to survive in 5 seconds, inevitably the green mask was forced to remove his mask in order to save the dying students. But before all that happened, the pink mask, who realized the charade of Shen Qingju and his friends, immediately attacked Shen Qingju with her big hammer. Since their plan had failed, he asked his colleagues to stop acting and hurried to escape. What Shen Qingju had been doing all along was just tricking the green mask. Because Shen Qingju had tricked him, the green mask became so annoyed and immediately attacked Shen Qingju. But quickly, Shen Qingju did another bubble attack. But it was different before because this one had an explosion effect, and boom. The scene moved to the riverbank in Changnan City. Captain Chen Muya was seen giving a report to his superiors that there were so many people who had been sent by the Church of Ancient God organization to attack the Night Watcher's side, and they were currently interrogating the cloaked person after losing against Hong Ying. In the interrogation scene, Hong Ying brutally beat the bad guy to a pulp. So that's the storyline of Slay the Gods Episode 7. Okay, thank you very much for watching until the end. And don't forget to support you with like, subscribe, and comment. And the last word from me, bye.